¿no, Chris?
Welcome back to This is Football. It's been a while, boys. Nico, Evan, how are you guys doing?
¿Qué hacemos? ¿Qué hacemos? What's up, everyone? Ever, Danny, how's everything?
Awesome. ¿Cuánto hace? 2 semanas, 3 semanas. It's been a
Algo
while.
así, sí. Yeah, man. I was on my honeymoon in Europe. I was at a crazy festival in Amsterdam last week.
Tremendo
Then in
viaje,
Italy,
eh?
yeah,
You gotta
Italy,
tell us.
Menorca.
You gotta tell us a little bit more
Nice.
about that trip.
Absolutely. No, we'll talk a little bit about it, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of time to talk about it in a couple weeks when the three of us go to Turkey, and
Eso.
and cover the beautiful UEFA Champions League final for This is Football, which is
The final that, by the way, Ever and I got it right when we did the predictions in semifinals. Ever and I were the only ones that said Inter versus Man City. So,
Wow, I forgot about that.
by the
Imagine
way, can't forget about
that.
that.
absolutely not. But
Nice.
I want to go over the topics for today. We're gonna go over. We'll talk about Inter Miami like we always do, just because it's the home team. They had a big win coming off of a couple, bad losses and a little bit of bad publicity from the coach. So definitely want to get into that. Um, some other interesting things. We talked about. We're gonna talk about a little Champions League and some predictions, Everett's predictions, Nico's predictions on the final. Maybe Nico will let us in on some of the production that's going on in the background and things that we have planned to go that are going to be going on over there.
Epa.
Yeah, we have some interesting stuff, and let's not forget, we want to get into probably the most important topic. What happened over the weekend with Bini Jr. in Spain and in Mestalla there against Valencia, where he was treated brutally with the racism. So we're definitely going to get into that and talk about that. And then we're going to wrap up with the under 20 World Cup because finally Nico's team is in. They had to, I don't know how much they paid, but
Finally. Estamos primero de grupo, no sé qué.
I know,
Finally, no
but
sé.
you had to get a country to admit that they hated another country so that they would take the World Cup away. You had to pay, I don't know how much to
Are you
get the
gonna
World
sign?
Cup.
Are you gonna sign a petition to FIFA as well to do that?
I
You gonna
already
sign
did.
a petition?
I did it already. I already signed. That
Oh,
was the
okay.
first one.
Okay.
So let's
Unbelievable.
let's jump right into it. What do you guys think? Let's jump right into Inter Miami.
Yeah, that's your favorite topic, man. Your topic of interest. That's your favorite topic.
All right, let's talk about
Let me
Inter
ask you
Miami.
something, Danny. First, are you allowed to talk about Inter?
I think we're allowed to talk about Inter and the MLS in general. I mean, I don't think I think I made it clear over the last few weeks that I'm not a fan of really any team. I just want to cover the sport because I love it, and so I'm going to talk about whoever I want to talk about. If it's Inter, if it's Orlando City, if it's LAFC for the West Coast guys, Austin, who's playing right now, Charlotte, they're also playing right now. That could be one of our next games for Inter Miami. So, hey, big win yesterday, guys. 2-1 over a Nashville team that has one of our friends, Fafa Picot, on it. We lost to Nashville a few weeks ago. 3-1 loss that was. And now,
Yeah, that was a
Inter
really bad
Miami were
one.
able to come back and win 2-1 in the U.S. Open Cup and advance to the quarterfinals. So what do you guys think about last night's game?
You
Ever?
go, I go. To be honest, guys, I didn't watch it. What am I gonna say? I just saw the goals. I saw that it was an empty stadium. I know that there was a weather delay. To be honest, it's not something I watched, and the reason why is because I had a game at that time. So I scored 2 goals. I scored an Olímpico, which
Epa,
so. But
epa.
Bueno.
I'm gonna be. I saw the goals. It was a two good goals.
Sí, sí.
I texted Negri today through Instagram to congratulate him on the goal. Nice finish, and also Stefanetti's goal was a nice goal. So that's all I have to comment
Dos
about.
amigos de la casa, marcaron dos amigos de la casa.
Sí, sí, no, no. Bueno, Neri, el gol de Neri, muy buen gol, muy buen gol. So,
Absolutely.
there goes my honest comment
That's
about the game.
that's it. That's all we're looking for on this channel is honesty, man. Just be honest, be yourself,
So,
and tell us how it is. How about you, Nico?
Sí, sí, yo por lo que pude ver, it was a very even match. It wasn't a match where you had a clear favorite. We knew what we were going into. The reason why is because we recently just played against this team, so they knew more or less, how Nashville plays. Nashville did have a lot more shots on frame. However, on target, I think it was about the same. It was like two shots on target for both teams. Possession wise, we saw pretty much 50-50. So I think the game was a very even game, and it could have gone either way. It could have gone either way, and fortunately, it went Miami's way, and they still advanced, to quarterfinals. I'm not sure who they play next. Who do they play next?
So
Is it already set up?
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's already set up. They play the winner of Charlotte and Birmingham. That's being played right now. Um,
So they
so
have high. So they have really, really high chances to make it to the semifinals because Charlotte's not playing
semifinals
really
at
well.
least. Yeah, semifinals at least.
absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, yeah, we see in the comments here, our good friend Stevie asking us about Ian Frey.
One
I'll
comment about Ian Frey. Today, when I went to renew my passport, as I'm walking out,
Lo encontraste ahí.
He was sitting there. So I touch his shoulder. I look at him. I'm like, "Hey, good game last night," which I didn't watch. And and I said, he looked at me. I'm like surprised. I'm like, "Hey, congratulations on your game yesterday." He looked surprised. He's like, "Oh, thank you. Like you recognize me." So yes, I
yeah.
saw him doing his passport today. So.
And you're renewing your passport because again, like we said, you're
Going to
going to Turkey,
Turkey.
right?
Yes,
That's right.
sir.
That's
Yes,
right.
sir. First Champions League final. Hopefully, it's not the
Absolutely.
last. So
But
Yeah,
besides
nice.
absolutely.
besides the game yesterday, I think the topic of interest wasn't the game itself. It was the number one, the lack of fans in the stadium.
Absolutely.
We saw that. We saw that throughout the whole stadium. I don't know if you saw it, Danny,
Yeah,
on
I watched.
TV.
I did. I was able to watch the game after I got out of that terrible Heat game last night. I guess I'm the jinx because I hadn't been to a game in a while and they were winning. So
Don't go
sorry.
again.
I know. Sorry about that, Heat fans.
Weather might have been a factor too. For the fans on the stadium. So it's a Tuesday night. Miami fans. You know how we are. If
No,
it's
no, no. I
cold,
don't
if
think.
it's rain.
I think 80% of it, 80% of
I've
it has to be because of how bad the team is playing recently, and because of the lack of connection that the actual fans, the hardcore fans, have with the coach now. And I'm pretty sure Danny wants to get into that
How
topic.
did the interview go? Like the press conference
Well,
after the game.
that's all. That's what I want to get into really because that's really the topic here is, Inter Miami suffered losses, back-to-back losses, and really the heat was on, um, you know, Neville to get a result. And he had trouble. I guess he got a little heated in a press conference with one of the local, media members, journalists, and he told the guy. He basically said, "Hey," he said, "fuck" to the guy or whatever. So I mean, that's pretty disrespectful from a coach. I know it went pretty viral. I reached out to this person,
No, no,
to
no,
this,
no.
to this journalist.
He said to show him some fucking respect. That's what
That's
he
right.
said.
That's right. Thank you.
How do you
So
gain respect talking to somebody that way?
I mean, I don't know. I asked him a couple questions, and I guess he felt disrespected by one of the questions I asked him, and I didn't even curse at the guy. So I don't know, man. I don't even want to get into that. Really, I don't want to get into my relationship with the team. The only thing that
But
matters.
your relationship with Phil in previous conferences was fine.
Absolutely, no,
You never had
never.
a.
Never. I mean, I felt like I asked the more difficult questions, or the more challenging questions, about tactics. I asked one time, and no, we never had an issue until apparently he misinterpreted a question that I had asked, where I had said, I had said, do you think that maybe the luck has turned onto your side, because he had talked about the team being unlucky the last 3, 4, 5 games, and that's why they had lost in that that 6-game streak. And maybe he misinterpreted it and he thought that I was telling him that the team got lucky. Look,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
whether they were lucky or not, it doesn't matter. But look, I don't think a coach, I guess what I'm trying to get to is you can tell the pressure was getting to Phil in that press conference, and losing a game to your rival, your in-state rival, 3-1. They got massively outplayed that game. I mean, really, you could see that he was heated. I'm going to put a graphic up for you guys because this is what I want to get into, and this is the most important part of this segment, and that's Neville's numbers. Neville's numbers as the coach of Inter Miami. He's been at the helm 87 matches. He's had 35 wins, 11 draws, 41 losses. That's 116 points out of 261 total points. That's 44% of total possible points won.
41 losses.
Evan, what coach in what league can get 44% of the points in 3 seasons, or 2.5, I guess, or 3.5 seasons, what he's been, and still be the coach of a team? In what league is that possible?
Well, let's not talk about a league. Let's talk about just this club, this team, this franchise. Because I saw the other day that Chicago, fired the coach. New York fired the coach. Toronto fires the coach. Everybody fires the coach, and because of probably the friendship or whatever it is, things are, they own a team together in England, or I don't know if it's in Wales that they own it. That's the answer. I think that's it. That's and I don't know what they have with this coach, manager, person representing the team, making the team play so bad, because we don't have it's a style of play. We go always to the same answer. There's not a style of play. We try to play with however we can. We hold it. Now our style of play is holding back and hope for Campana and Joseph to score a goal. That's it. We have bad center backs, inexperienced, some of them. And I don't know, man. It's this team. I think we are where we deserve to be as a team. Playing wise with points, 35 wins, 41 losses. Is that what it was?
Yep, that's what it
was. In 3 years, almost 3 years. This guy needs to go. He needs to go. If you can't expect change. You can't expect change doing the same things. So if we need to change, we need to do something drastic about it.
Yes and no. I think that what Miami needs to change. Of course, the tactical ways are not being the best. You don't see anything going forward with the team. However, when it comes to numbers, what Danny was showing in the graphic, that's pretty much what every MLS coach has been doing, with the exception of a few of the ones that stand out, like Jim Curtin or maybe Giovanni Savarese or Bruce Arena. The ones that
the big names.
Okay,
right?
so those big names. But if you go back and you start looking into coaches like Luchi Gonzalez, Adrian Heath, Oscar Pareja, Greg Vanny recently, all those coaches get average of 1.3, 1.5 points per game, and that's where Phil Neville stands right now. So I don't think that just because we think that they're playing really, really bad, we can say, "Oh, it's just fire him and let him go." You have to also see what's happening in other teams in the MLS, and the MLS doesn't have that type of structure where they feel the heat and then they immediately let go of coaches. We recently saw it in 2 teams, and we thought that was going to create a domino effect, and it didn't happen. Those 2 teams got a new coach, and then we thought, okay, maybe the heat is on Phil Neville, the heat might be on Greg Vanny, the heat might be on Peter Burns, and it didn't happen. Those coaches are still there, and they're still playing bad, and they're still getting the same results.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Danny, that one thing we have to talk about is La Familia. After what you posted the other day, what you shared, that's a good topic right there.
And we're gonna get into that. I wanted to touch on a couple of points that you made, Evan, and then a couple points that Nico made. So Evan, you made the point that Neville does have a friendship, with one of the co-owners of the team. That's Neville. That's Beckham. And that friendship goes way back to their Manchester United days. And so, that could be one of the keys that plays, into Neville's favor. He has that support in the front office. But I mean, you have to question, and like Stevie says in the comments, I mean, 3 years is still no identity. I mean, absolutely. And I've been on the message boards, I've been all over Twitter, Facebook, and every, the comments that I get back from everybody, and then I want to hear from you guys, and definitely, Socio and Stevie and anybody else that's listening in the comments, comment on this. But
Why is
you know,
Socio on the chat and not in the show?
he's at work. He's at work, man. He's at work.
He's
So
about to get fired.
it's all good. It's all good. He has to pay the light bill, so he has to go to work. But the question I have for you guys, 3 years, no identity, but they've people have said, oh, the sanctions, oh, the injuries, oh, the we're not spending money on players, or we haven't replaced Pozuelo. I think that's just all excuses. As a coach, you need to plan for these things. And like, I'm not saying you have to plan for your best player to get injured at the beginning of the season, but you need to have a backup plan, and you need to be ready to go with somebody there if that happens, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of excuses coming from, the people who are backing Neville. A lot of these excuses, but I'm just not into those excuses. I think it's bullshit, is what I'm saying. What do you guys think?
I really think that after 3 years, he has had plenty of chances to get signed players for his style of play, players that could adjust to his whatever system is, and I think that it's there. We're not going anywhere with this, gentlemen. To
No,
be
yeah,
honest, I think playing wise, tactically, I think we're not going anywhere, and I think it's time for a change. It's time for a change. I think we've had players go. We have new players. Now we have left. I think we have 3 injuries, important injuries. We let go of some young players that we signed for long term, and then we didn't bring anybody else. So, and
yeah,
that's probably the coach's fault, because you're letting people go, and you don't tell your club to bring you new players. I don't know. They haven't said, "Oh, we're playing the younger guys," like you always mention. They haven't said that. If they say, "No, we're not bringing anybody, we're playing the young guys," okay, I respect that. But they haven't said anything.
right,
They have.
right, and it's just been complete silence. So yeah, I mean, I agree, and it looks like we lost Nico for a little bit, and maybe he's the one that's not paying the light bill. I don't know, man. There was back and forth messages, in the chat about him not showing up to work. Who knows, man?
I
You
know.
don't know, weird things going on, but I don't know. I want to okay. Let's get into what you talked about, Ever, La Familia. So I posted, and it wasn't myself, but there was a bunch of posts going around social media, and definitely it was on the Vice City Instagram, and also on a couple other Instagrams that I saw. But La Familia was apparently
Angry.
making tifos against Neville, saying Neville out. They were posting against Neville, saying this is it. That's something that we haven't seen during Neville's tenure with Inter de Miami. That's something that got me smiling. I don't know if that makes me a mean person, and it has nothing. It's nothing to be against. It's nothing to have to do with Neville himself as a person. But it got me smiling because it's finally showing me that the fans are kind of doing something about it. Ever and me from Uruguay, we're used to
It makes my
our
blood
team.
flow when I
Well, that's what
see
I'm
that.
saying. Our team loses 2 games in Uruguay, and I mean the fans are already going against the coach, the front office, everybody, and they're chanting it, and that's how it is. So it took 3 years for this to happen. Ever, I mean, how does it feel? I mean, to me, it feels great. It's like
To be honest, when
La
you
familia
share
se
that,
despertó. No,
I know. We're awake. It's, to be honest, it makes me now, for example, I feel like a real fan, because it's like, okay, we are demanding. We're demanding change, like they said on the post. We're demanding respect, rain and shine, weather delay, weekday, weekends. Always sing. Because that's one of the things that they have. This guy, because I don't sing. They sing in the whole game, 90 minutes, 97 minutes, 2 hours, an hour delay. They're still singing, And what do they show on their Instagram? These guys there jumping, singing all the time, So they need the respect, because, like I said, I watch the games. I love watching live
right.
football, but they're the ones bringing everything, getting there early, setting up everything, so
Yeah, I mean
chanting the whole
we've
game.
been at the
So
games. We've been at the games early. We know we've had choripans with some of the members from Vice City. We've talked to La Reina from Southern Legion. We've talked to these people. We've gotten close to them, made relationships, and it's nice to see them start to speak out and start to say we're mad. We're here. We support the club, and we're not seeing it back from you guys. Stevie again makes another comment, that we've talked about this on a prior episode, that we had, our friend Nick over, with the LAFC fans, and that the fans are really the voice behind the club, and we've yet to see that with the Inter Miami fans, with La Familia, until this past weekend, and until that happened. And I'm curious, you know, maybe the fact that that there was a heat game yesterday. Maybe it was the weather. Maybe it's like how I said, a Tuesday in Fort Lauderdale, and it's tough for the fans in Miami to go up to Fort Lauderdale. It could be a lot of different I guess excuses for the stadium not being full yesterday, but I think one of the big ones, it could have been a sign from La Familia, saying, a big "fu," like, we're not going to show up
you know
unless you
what?
start winning.
You know
No,
what? Now that I try to remember the highlights that I saw, I didn't see a lot of the big flags that you see in the middle of the field. You see behind the
exactly.
goal. So that might be a reason too. So that's good. I guess that's good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could. I mean, it's interesting to me, and it adds another flavor to this Inter Miami controversy. Where over the weekend, the team lost to its big rival. The coach had a somewhat of a little meltdown, and then La Familia starts to act out, and now they get a win. So now we're going into a weekend game where the team plays against Montreal, a team who we started the season off beating, and it's possible that they could get a win at home. I believe it's at home. It's possible that they could get a win there. So we're gonna have to wait, and see if they can get a win. If they get a win, I think Neville continues. If they get a loss, we'll see what La Familia does, right? If they lose, maybe La Familia is gonna speak out, and maybe they'll make some moves. Socio has been telling us since the beginning he's not going anywhere. I'm starting to believe Socio now more day in and day out. As I see the team play, but I don't know, man. We're gonna have to wait and see. So we'll come back next week, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how it all plays out, and we'll have a little bit more of information of what goes on with the team. But all right, let's move on to the next topic. What do you say about that, Evan?
I'm
As we
down. I'm down.
as
Let's
we
go.
wait
Let's
for
go. What are we
Nico.
talking? What are we talking about now? Let's
Well, we're gonna
see.
we're gonna talk about this right now. I'm just kidding. We're gonna talk about Champions League. So we are going to Champions League. I'm bringing it up right there. Manchester City, Inter Milan, Saturday, June 10th, Istanbul, Turkey. Ever, vos te vas. ¿Cuántas escalas? You're flying. I think you're doing. You're going. I think you're going to like 7 different countries before you get to
No,
Turkey.
no, no, no.
I'm going to like 4 different countries.
No,
So
I travel. So on the way there, I go to New York, Oslo, Norway, and then Istanbul. So it's 2 stops. So it's not
two.
that bad. On the way
So
back, then I think it's Denmark, then back to New York, and New York back to Miami. So
so you're like me. I'm doing it too. I go Montreal, then Montreal to Paris, Paris to Turkey. On the way
20
back,
hours each way. 20
yeah,
hours each
20
way.
hours each way. Yeah, but it's worth it, man. It's worth it to be in a final, to be able to talk to the legends that we're going to talk to,
Oof.
and interview. I heard, I don't want to drop names, but the team did tell me that we might have a interview set up with none other than somebody with the nickname Poopy.
Oof.
Uh,
Champions League winner from
so
Inter.
so if that is the case, and we do have that interview set up with him, that conversation set up with him, Ever, I don't know about you, but me da escalofríos just knowing that I'm
No,
going to
no.
be talking
That's a
to
legend. That's a real
exactly.
legend of the game. A legend of Inter. Oof.
Yeah, yeah. The other rumor is apparently we have we're going to be meeting a lot of Inter legends. So, I'm hoping that, maybe El Chino Recoba might be there.
Man, I'm down to see El Chino Recoba.
Yeah, maybe El Bamban Zamorano, who is
I have
also
to
an
look. You
Inter
know what? I have
legend.
some Chino Recoba shirt from Inter, so old one. So I
Yeah.
have to look for it. I'm
Yeah,
sure I have
yeah.
it.
Definitely take it, because if he's there, definitely we're gonna get una photo for sure.
No, I'll get it
And
signed.
absolutely. So I'm excited about that. I want to talk about the game a little bit. So the semifinals, we saw Man City just blow out Real Madrid in that second leg. Una goleada. Real Madrid never stood a chance. You called it, and so did Nico. Both of you said que ya, even though Nico always talks about esa mística, I mean, the both of you even said it. Que it was over. It was over. What do you think? You think they're going to beat Inter in the final? You think ya, tipo, it's tough. Un partido único, una final, ¿no? Es única. It's really anybody's game. But do you think that Man City is just favored that much? Que están llenos, tienen mucho equipo para el Inter.
Mira, en los papeles, candidato número 1, por mucho, Manchester City.
Sí.
Pero no nos olvidemos que este es un equipo italiano. Los equipos italianos, sean de donde sean los jugadores, están hechos para estos partidos. Entonces son equipos preparados. O sea, primero que nada, eso. Segundo, tenemos en cuenta que no es un equipo chico. No estamos hablando, por ejemplo, en este momento de Benfica, no estamos hablando a mismo el Napoli en este momento. Jugador por jugador, el Inter tiene jugadores de peso y con experiencia que pueden hacerle un buen partido al Manchester City. Los primeros 15-20 minutos del partido van a decir mucho. Manchester City va a venir con todo. Epa, apareció el hombre. Ahí. Entonces, pagaste el cable, llamaste ahí, TNT ahí. Entonces yo creo que es un partido, es una final. El Inter va a tener posibilidades de hacer un gol, aguantar. Pero déjame darte cadena un poquito ahí.
Si se va la mierda de nuevo, ya saben por qué es, ¿eh?
Sí. Entonces, yo creo que va a ser un muy buen partido y yo creo que el Inter lo puede ganar tranquilamente. Un partido lo puede llevar como ganarlo 1-0, aguantarlo. No creo que no va a tener tantas posibilidades de gol, pero tiene jugadores que pueden definir un partido. Seco, Lautaro, si entra Lukaku después, de Ambrosi ahí por los lados, Dumfries, que llega mucho también por la derecha.
¿Qué porcentaje le das al Inter?
No, yo digo que por lo menos sí o sí es un 70-30 Manchester City, pero te soy sincero, o sea, lo puede, ese 30 es muy grande porque es una final, es a partido
Decíamos,
único.
Sí, por eso decíamos partido único y decía Ever, un equipo italiano que se cierra bien atrás, que tiene las posibilidades y te quiero mencionar el Pep, el Man City del Pep, que jugó la final contra un Tottenham, ¿no? El Tottenham.
Chelsea.
Perdón, Chelsea, y otra final perdió contra quién. Solo jugó una final.
Jugó una final.
Perdón, pero esa final, tipo, cambió la formación el Pep, no sé, se hizo a pensar, no, se pensó mucho, y no sé, por eso yo le doy un 50-50 a este partido. Para mí.
No, por Dios.
Sí, yo le doy un 50-50. Sí.
Tu odio por Pep Guardiola te dice decir pelotudeces.
No es un odio por Pep. Yo creo que Pep es top 3 coach ever, of all time. Eso te lo digo así. Top 3 coach of all time. No es un odio por Pep.
Te voy a traer a mi padre para que hable de Pep acá, como lo odia. Dice que el día que agarre un equipo chico, ahí hablamos qué tipo
de técnico. Pero es que no lo tiene que agarrar. No tiene que agarrar.
Es más un odio por los... Es más un odio por los equipos ingleses, ¿eh? Que gane un italiano. Vamos arriba a Italia, carajo, ¿eh? Recién vine de allá. Me enseñaron a cocinar pasta fresca, ¿eh? Te puedo hacer un pichi con una salsa tipo...
un pichi a vos que me hace...
¿Te gusta comer pichi? ¿Te gusta comer pichi?
El pichi está riquísimo, boludo.
¿Está rico el pichi?
Está rico. El pichi es una pasta de una región de Italia que se llama Montepulciano. Andá a la región, conocé un poco.
Culturizate, Nico.
Bueno, a ver.
Viaja un poco, ¿eh?
Dani dice 50-50, Ever dice 70-30. Para todos los amigos interistas que nos están escuchando, sorry, muchachos. ¿Vieron cómo el medio ese dijo que el Miami Heat tenía 3% de chance?
Sí,
bueno,
sí.
Yo voy a decir lo mismo. Manchester City 97% de chance tiene de ganar esa final.
Y bueno.
No, pero o sea, sigue siendo una final. Van a dominar, el Inter se va a meter atrás, le van a meter pata por todos lados. Saben que las finales no te van a sacar tarjeta amarilla en la primera jugada. Vos sabés que De Bruyne le pega 2 pataditas y pierde los papeles, se empieza a frustrar.
Va a ser una de las finales más abultosas en la historia de la Champions League.
No creo.
No creo.
No creo.
No. Pero para una pregunta fuera del partido, ¿no? Porque
sorry, G.
Una pregunta, because our fans want to know, since you're very close to our producers, I threw out a name que según lo que nos dijeron hace unas semanas que teníamos la posibilidad de confirmar una nota con un tal Pupi. Esa, digo, ¿lo tenemos confirmado? ¿Se cerró? ¿Se puede decir o no?
Confirmado.
Confirmado. Así que
Imagínate.
A Ever le dio escalofríos.
A mí casi me caigo en la silla, tuve que agarrar algo.
Sí.
Viejo,
a ver,
confirmado.
Imagínate para nosotros, con lo pequeño que somos, This Fútbol, estar en Estambul, la final de la Champions, y entrevistar a un campeón de la Champions. O sea, capitán que levantó la copa. Ya, mirá.
Ever, no somos chiquitos, boludo. Somos grandes. Y así pensamos. Nosotros somos grandes y pensamos y así tenemos que ser. No es por casualidad que vamos a estar ahí.
Es más. ¿Cuántos suscriptores tenemos? Porque no sé.
230.
Bueno, cuando lleguemos a los 250, sorteamos una camiseta firmada del Pupi Zanetti.
No, hay que ponerla a 500, papá. Esa van a venir unos
cuantos. You up the game. Así que we change it from...
Sorteamos una camiseta.
So not Inter Miami. Sorteamos la camiseta firmada del Pupi Zanetti. You heard it here first.
Well, we did. Okay, guys, we did.
Nobody wants an Inter Miami shirt.
We started.
All right, so hold on.
Nobody wants an Inter. That's
I want to get this. I want to get this. Right here. Say it to the camera.
250 YouTube subscribers. We're gonna get a Pupi Zanetti signed jersey and raffle it in between them.
All right, said it here first. I'm definitely making a reel out of that.
Socio will win it.
Socio sister's not gonna win. Socio sister's not gonna win. So, who knows, man? My mom is a subscriber. Maybe she'll win. You never know. So let's get to the next topic, guys. We talked first about Neville, Inter Miami. We talked about the Champions League finals. I want to get into a topic really quickly that kind of maybe touches the heart. A little bit more serious, siempre estamos de joda acá, but really I want to get into something a little bit more serious. Over the weekend in Spain, we've heard a lot about racism in Spain, but you saw a player, a South American player, and that's why it kind of touches me a little more. South American player just be treated terribly by the Spanish fans, by the Valencia fans, being called a monkey, being called just terrible things. And the ban came down today, or La Liga came back today, and all they did was fine them some money. They suspended one of their stands for I think 5 games, and I think that's about it. Nothing else. I think that's light, man, and that just goes to show you that La Liga is an enabler and not really out there to stop racism. I mean, it's just despicable to me. I don't know. What are your guys' opinions?
It's a very hard topic to talk about. Obviously, nobody wants to see racism in leagues. I know that there's leagues like, for example, the Premier League, that it's attacking that very, very well. But they're pioneers to other things as well. When the hooligans were around, they cut it out immediately. So and the way they did it was drastic. They said no fans are allowed, So we live in an era where you can't really do that. You can't really just say, "Oh, no fans at all," because you see it close enough here. You don't have to go to Spain. You see it in Mexico, where the goalie takes a
goal kick, yeah, and they yell puto.
And they yell that word, yeah, exactly. So they've been fined thousands of times, and nothing has changed. Fans are still going to the stadium and still doing it. What makes you think that they're not going to say racial,
I mean,
things, racial abuses to
I,
players.
I mean, what I said was, and Evan, you can, I mean, you can tell me if I'm way off topic here and I'm going way over the top. But what I said is, what they should have done is just no, Valencia goes to the B or to the C division, and that's it. Because no, or you
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair
or
to the team. I don't
well,
think it's fair to the team because
well, but
because because the team that specific fan is not necessarily
but it
linked
wasn't a
with the
specific
team.
fan. It wasn't a specific fan. It was more than a specific fan. It was a group of fans, and it was throughout the entire game. And it wasn't that they were yelling, hey,
But it
or
wasn't. But it
one
wasn't the
bad thing.
whole. It wasn't the whole
No, it
stadium. What
wasn't
I'm
the
trying
whole
to say,
stadium.
it wasn't the whole
Yes,
stadium
it was a group
yelling
of
to
fans.
him.
I understood. Understood.
Correct.
Understood.
Correct. So what I think needs to be done is okay, set up a system where fans that get in the stadium get recognized faster than how it is now. Maybe do like a face ID or stuff like that, where you could immediately find the person that it is and then kick them out, ban them for life, and then they won't be able to do anything.
I think that the players that face that they should just make the referee stop the game. The leagues should give the referees the authority to stop the games, get the people involved out, and ask the player first if he feels comfortable playing. Even the Valencia player for the center back, I think it is. He has gone through that. It's not like the only black player in that game was Vinicius. They had their Valencia has black players as well. So I don't get it. So obviously
And
I think that the clubs should be fine because that's the only way the fans will feel it. That's an example. The stand to be closed for 5 games, getting a monetary fine so they can use that money to use it for whatever things they can do against racism and stuff. But I think they should do something more drastic. At least send them to jail or I don't know. I don't know. Things they're gonna keep on doing it. They're gonna forget after next season. They're gonna start doing it again at another player. Maybe they're not at Vinicius because obviously Vinicius, um, he gets more attention than others.
and that's one of the topics that I wanted to talk about when it comes to this. There's a lot of players, and I heard in Chiringuito, I heard a player. I don't know if you guys remember him, Balboa, that
Mm-hmm.
he played in Real Madrid. He said it himself, and he's black too. He's a black former player, and he said that he didn't suffer the way that it's going on now when he played, you know, and one of the reasons why that happened was because he wasn't inciting it to the fans. So maybe that needs to be changed too. There's a lot of players that are
Pay a lot
getting
of
that.
attention. Yeah, pay a lot of attention to that. Obviously, it's not right, but
It's
it's
not
gonna
right
keep
at
on
all. It's
happening.
completely not right.
Yeah, it's
No, no.
you get
We want to get
insulted.
you.
No, of course,
Correct.
it's you get insulted all the time, and if you pay attention to that, we know it's not right, and probably we do it when we go as fans. We insult, we scream because we're mad and we're not okay with whatever is going on in the game. But obviously, just being doing that, it's not right. So obviously, if you pay attention to it, it's like when a player comes back to you and starts hitting you from behind. If you respond, obviously, it's gonna keep on happening. So
Exactly.
obviously Vinicius, I wasn't in his position. I saw the videos where he almost started crying and it touched me. So it's tough to be in that position, but they're professional players. They should be able to handle it or go to the ref and tell, look, talk to your captain, tell your captain, look,
Yes.
we're I don't want to play anymore. If we, obviously that's something they have to discuss before the games.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
now, even more now that it keeps on happening every game. Every time he goes out of Santiago Bernabeu, this happens. So they have to be in the same page with the captain and said, "We're walking out," and the league needs to support the team that walks out, give
That's
them the
that's
three
that's a
points,
major issue. That's a major issue.
something like that.
Until the league actually cracks down on this type of topics, nothing's gonna change.
Right, but that has to come from the president. That has to come from Tebas, and he came out and tweeted. I mean, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know. I want to throw up something up on the screen for you guys really quickly. Something cool that I saw today. I want to put it up up here. That basically, when all the players came out, they wore the Vini Junior number 20, and the fans, the
I
ultras,
understand.
of
I
them. They say
understand. I understand this. However, we're taking away the fact that there's a lot more players that get the same type of abuse, and we don't talk about them.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it in the Italian league. With Lukaku, we saw it. I believe didn't somebody throw a banana at Dani Alves?
Eto. It was at Eto.
It was Eto.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've seen these things happen in the Spanish league and the English league. Really all over Europe. We've seen the
we
EPL
we
crack
we we
down a lot on it.
we see it. However, I don't know if you remember, Danny. We had the chance to talk to Charlie Davis about it,
We did a
and
few weeks ago.
Charlie Davis mentioned to us that he never had any trouble when it came to racial abuse.
And he played in a few different leagues over there that he told us, and that's on the interview that we have with him. And I'll see if we can get production to cut that up, especially that part, and throw it out at least for our fans out there on our Instagram page. So you can definitely follow our Instagram page at TI Football Podcast, and you'll get that there. So yeah, he said he played in a few leagues and he didn't have any issues. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It could be, that why do some players experience this? I don't know. Why are they the chosen ones? I don't know. Does Vinicius incite them? Maybe. It's still wrong, like you said. I don't know, but it's wrong. It shouldn't happen in any league, anywhere in the world. And until the presidents of the leagues, Tebas and the president of the Italian league, and them come out and come out against this, it's nothing's gonna happen, like you said. So that's the most important thing, is really the presidents have to come out and support these players, and he didn't come out and do that. And I think that sets the precedent for that.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I thought was interesting was, the day after that this happened, none of the major Spanish newspapers were covering
Talk
it.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
it was like
That tells you something about,
right. Yeah,
about the country, about whatever is going on, the support that this player in particular now it's not getting.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just sad. So, but let's move on from this sad topic, and let's move on to a topic that really right now the three of us are happy. Everybody who's in our fan section right now is happy. Let's move on and talk about the under 20 World Cup. Argentina, won their first two games. They're through to the next round. Group A has a really, really big game coming up next. New Zealand is in second place. Se juegan la vida contra Argentina in the next game because Uzbekistan plays Guatemala. Guatemala has lost the two games. And for me, I mean, I think Uzbekistan can squeeze through. If Argentina can beat New Zealand and Uzbekistan wins, they pass through. And that would be pretty crazy.
Keep in mind that I did the four best third teams from each pass too, so they go through
so they might
New
still have a
Zealand.
chance.
New Zealand, I think is going to go through anyway, unless I know that other teams have better scores and
right
ball difference and
Yeah,
stuff.
you get two, right? Two of the two best thirds, right?
I
Is
believe
that what
so.
it is?
Yeah. So I think it's the
Or four. No, my bad. It's
Four.
four.
I think
because
it's four.
six group.
Yeah,
If
it's four.
it's
Six
a
Four
groups,
out
you
of
need
six.
four.
the top two in each group, and then the four best third place teams advance to the next round.
Correct.
So, and in Group B, we already know USA won their first two games. Kate Cowell had a goal.
By the way, he's a fantastic player, man. What
Yeah,
a great
fantastic.
talent he is.
Lucci out for the San Jose Earthquakes. Big game for Ecuador coming up. Ecuador, wins today, but they play
Oh,
USA
they
next.
play.
They play USA
No,
next.
no,
It's
no,
not going
no.
to be.
They played. They played.
They
USA
play
the first
Fiji.
game.
They play
They play
Fiji.
Fiji. So
But-
Ecuador's gonna be through.
but
play
they
Yeah,
play.
for sure.
They play USA next.
They lost to
No,
USA.
they lost to
Oh,
USA.
they lost to
Okay.
USA. So they play Slovakia. Got it. And then
No,
I
no.
know.
They played USA
Oh,
first.
re cagado.
They played USA.
Daddy,
first
please
game.
ask me. Please answer me this question. Did you create this slide with this? Did you put
Danny,
this up?
it's
Yeah.
okay. You were on your honeymoon, bro. You were on your honeymoon. We understand. You weren't
Yeah,
watching
man.
shit.
I know that Brazil, lost to Italy. I know that Brazil beat Dominican Republic 6-0 today. I
And
know
then
that
Italy
Nigeria
lost
beat
to-
Italy
And
today.
then Italy lost to Nigeria.
Nigeria, right.
Yeah.
So that group is completely screwed up. Uruguay, beat Iraq 4-0. We play England next tomorrow at 2 p.m.
The surprise of the tournament so far has been South Korea beating France. France being one of the heavy favorites because obviously they always have great generations, and having to lose a game against South Korea and the way they lost it.
Yep.
South
Yep.
Korea was up 2-0 on them, and they were actually playing really, really well. So I think that was one of the surprises of the tournament.
I completely agree. The one thing that I want to take away from this is I think all of the South American teams, Argentina, Ecuador, Uruguay, Brazil, and Colombia are all gonna or all should advance to the next round. Are all either qualified already or should advance to the next round. And I think that's huge for
Yeah.
CONMEBOL.
Frankie, the reason why Argentina is in the World Cup is because they're the host nation.
That's
I think
correct. That's correct.
Argentina is bringing Messi so they can win it because
Yeah.
it's incredible.
It's in the
How
second
they
round.
got in.
In the second round, you get to bring a player.
I
You get
know,
to bring
like
a
like
player
in
of your
FIFA,
choice.
you get a like in FIFA, you can bring them in, and surprisingly, look at the group that Argentina got. Like, come on, like, no, me quiero
Hey,
matar.
no vi ningún partido de Argentina, pero le cobraron un penal por partido, ¿no?
No
No,
need,
no,
no
pero
need. With
pero
those
no está
rivals,
jugando
do
también.
you really think that with those rivals, Argentina would actually?
Pero no se le ha hecho fácil, ¿eh? Argentina no se le hizo fácil. Yo vi los
Bueno, el otro
partidos,
día
no se le
contra
hizo
Guatemala
fácil.
sí. Ayer contra Guatemala.
Se soltó un poquito más después del gol, pero no tampoco fue no fue tan fácil.
The
Sí,
biggest
no.
issue with Argentina is the coach. I don't think who's worse, Phil Neville or Javier Mascherano as a coach.
Oh, bueno, no le pegues tan duro, ¿eh? A Mascherano, ¿eh?
Disaster.
A Neville pegale, a Mascherano no le pegues.
It would have been cool if this tournament was allowed to bring most of the under 20 players that are playing in Europe.
Absolutely. I agree.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that a lot of teams don't have, like Argentina has a lot of players that they weren't allowed. France also has a lot of players that weren't allowed. England, even Uruguay, I think, had.
Yeah, Uruguay has R9, El Toro Rodriguez, Álvaro, yeah.
Álvaro.
Yeah, he wasn't allowed to because el Real Madrid Castilla was competing to ascend, and they wouldn't let him leave. So, and now he's actually on the first team squad this weekend. So, I guess for him, it's good for that he stays there and he earns his spot for next season. But big game for Uruguay tomorrow against England. That I want to put that graphic back up. That group D, man. That group D is el grupo de la muerte. Anything can really happen there, other than Dominican Republic and poor Eddie Ascona. Poor Eddie Ascona. He did get the first ever goal for Dominican Republic over the weekend. So
he got a red card today. He got a red card.
You were telling me, yeah. A ver, contame, what was it that he did? What was it?
He's coming back home early.
Yeah, so I saw the second half of the Brazil game against the Dominican Republic. Ascona didn't touch the ball at all. Obviously, Brazil had possession most of the time. But as I watch these tournaments all the time. I really enjoy watching them. And you see the best players from each team. And I saw it from Iraq, number 10. He would try to get the ball, take 2-3 players. You have to show yourself. He disappeared. He wouldn't get the ball. He wouldn't run. He would get the ball and just get rid of it right away. If you want to show yourself, you're playing against Brazil on an under-20 World Cup, do something different. Take 2-3 players, lose it. Show some passion. Nothing at all. So, that's why, remember that day I sat down next to him. I told him, look, you need to get more minutes. You don't deserve the minutes. But based on what I saw today, he doesn't deserve any minutes in the first team.
Well, if you want to go by that, then our Honduran boy David Ruiz doesn't deserve any minutes because he doesn't even start in the Honduran national team.
But at least he's playing. At least he's playing.
No, he's playing in Inter, but he's not playing in the U20.
But right now, what I was talking about Ascona, because he doesn't play. At least this guy is playing. If the coach from Honduras doesn't play him, that's his problem. But Ascona, at least, if you want to show here, this guy David Ruiz is playing. So he shouldn't worry about much. At least he's there, whatever.
Right.
If he wants to be there. But Ascona, the face he had that day, he wasn't happy that he wasn't playing. So now that shows you that there is no passion in this guy, or to show something different. At least to sell yourself. At least to go somewhere else. That's what most of the players use these tournaments for, so they can show themselves and be sold to Europe or to a different country.
Well, that's what usually happens after this tournament. A lot of the South American and Central American players, and even the American players, I mean, the ones that show out, really, you show out, and that's where you drive up your price, and that's how you get sold.
Pero no
and
te quiero cortar, pero ayer vi el gol de Kate Cabo, el de San José.
Sí.
Es muy bueno. You score a goal at a World Cup. He scored a nice goal. They don't celebrate. They don't show any American players. Uf, me mata, me quema la cabeza. They don't show it.
Passion.
They don't show.
But then you had the other kid, Diego Luna, which I think he's another fantastic player. That he's going to be a very, very good talent.
Absolutely.
Coming up through the MLS. He did celebrate his goal.
Yeah, pero ese es más mexicano que el otro. El otro, la madre. Pero menos pasión. Papá, hiciste un golazo en el Mundial. Salí, tirate ahí arriba un compañero y celebró.
¿Vieron el gol? ¿Vieron el gol del ecuatoriano?
Yes.
Qué golazo.
Se la clavó.
Very typical Ecuadorian style of goal.
Sí, jugador, and player too.
Sí. Pero
by the way, two players that I really, really like from these South American sides. Ecuador, Baez, I think he's going to be a fantastic player. I think Chelsea is about to sign him, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be a very, very good player. Number 2, a Colombian player, number 8, Gustavo Puerta. He's already signed by Leverkusen. They loaned him out to Nuremberg. He's going to be a great, great talent for Colombia throughout the next generation. I think
sí, socio, celebro más que en el Mundial Sub-20, papá. Todos los partidos celebro, socio, como debe ser.
Yeah. Epa.
Debería tenerlo hace rato el amigo, pero ahí apareció.
Está bien. Ahí un cambio del Juliano ahí. Epa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Juliano el Mundial Sub-20 va a jugar. A ver, ¿qué año será? Tiene 3.
Colombia beat Japan
2040.
today 2-1. Japan has an interesting player in the team. There's a player named Takahashi. He's a left back.
Nico Takahashi.
He plays for Barcelona. His mom is from Spain and his dad is Argentinian. But he decided to play for Japan. So that's a very interesting story.
That's cool, bro. That's a really, really, really interesting.
I saw it today. Yeah.
Kind of tidbit there. I had no idea. To be 100% honest, I haven't followed any of the teams other than the Uruguay team, and the only players that I really know are the Uruguay team. So I can tell you, in Uruguay, for me, the top players are Luciano Rodriguez, El Cepillo, number 10. He's a fantastic player. He plays for that
really good,
Uruguay.
But he's the type of player that he doesn't make it too far. Yeah,
right. He's too small and stuff, but I like Luciano Rodriguez. He plays in Liverpool.
I like Ferrari number 9.
And Andre Ferrari.
We have entered the Uruguay segment.
We have entered the Uruguay segment. No, but we can enter in a different segment. I just don't know the other teams as much, but I will.
They just asked why Cremashi is not on. Someone in the chat just asked why Cremashi is not on the U.S. team. Cremashi decided to play for the Argentina national team, and he's waiting for his chance to get called. He didn't get called up to the under 20 team.
Pero si hasta los 23 se puede cambiar. ¿Qué animal? Jugar, mundial, mostrate también. Pero bueno, ahí es donde ve la decisión y lo que lo apoyan ahí alrededor que le hacen tomar mala decisión. Si te puedes cambiar ahora a los 23, eso era antes, pero ahora hasta los 23 puedes cambiar.
No, pero bueno. Hasta podés jugar un mundial y después cambiar.
No, hasta los 23. Mientras que no juegues en las selecciones, creo que es
la selección mayor, un partido oficial en la selección.
Pero si juegan juveniles, puedes jugar sub-20, sub-23 con Estados Unidos y después si anda bien, Argentina lo llama, puede jugar. Pero bueno.
Interesante. Pero bueno, vamos. La semana que viene repasamos de vuelta los resultados del fin de semana y ahí cuando sabemos un poco el fixture final, tipo cómo quedan los equipos ahí empezamos a elegir nuestros favoritos.
Next week should be the end of season type of show, right? We got to start selecting who has been the best team, who has been obviously
absolutely
the best team, right?
Absolutely.
Who has been the surprise?
The only league that hasn't had a champion, which is France, because they only have one game to win at PSG and they win it. And next weekend, I think Dortmund or Bayern Munich. Either one. If Dortmund wins, if they win, they win the league. Yeah. That would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll have a show. We'll have a show with the end of the season wrestling.
Nice. End of the season awards or end of the season summary, something like that, and then we'll have a little fun. We'll give out some awards to some.
Danny, are we gonna do a show in Istanbul, like a live show, maybe like at a park in the middle of Istanbul, something like that?
Absolutely.
We should do something like that live.
we have a bunch of things planned in Istanbul. I'm thinking of doing, a vlog with Ever, each of us on our travels on the way to Istanbul. We're both taking a similar route, a couple different countries. Este, but it'll be interesting to see how each of us gets there, and then really how each of us lives the final, because neither of us really has a team that we're going for here, but it's going to be interesting to see how each of us lives the final. We're going to live it differently. I don't know who I'm kind of going for yet. I'm leaning
I'm
more
going for
towards
Inter.
towards Inter Milan.
The
Yeah,
only
me
club
too.
that I supported since I was young, because since I started watching that I can remember, since Ru and Sosa was at Inter, that was the only club in Europe that was not a fan, but that I liked. So that has been the only team that I liked. So it's fun to be able to go to a Champions League final watching Inter. So
And
that's
we
why. And
know,
then with Recoba and all the other Uruguayans, so Inter for sure.
and I know Nico is going to go for Inter too, because you're a Liverpool fan. You don't want to see City win, huh? Although, hold
To
on.
be honest with you,
Although you've been rooting for City all year, man. You've been rooting for City all year. So I don't know what kind of a Liverpool fan you are, but you've been rooting for City all year. I did see in the chat
no, no,
somebody
no, no,
said
no, no, no,
Socio
no,
is
no,
running
no.
from the police.
No, 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 no.
Whoa.
Let me, so that you understand. I wasn't rooting for City. I was rooting against Arsenal winning anything, because Socio will be unbearable if Arsenal ever wins a trophy.
Look right there. Somebody asked, is he in a dark retreat after Arsenal choked? I mean, that's tough
Choked.
to swallow.
Which,
Choked.
by the way, yes. By the way, we haven't talked about it enough. Last time we
We
actually did a show, he was still saying top of the
top of the
league, top of
league,
the
top of the
league,
league,
top
top
of
of
the
the
league.
league.
2 weeks afterwards, they're 7 points behind, and City is the proclaimed champions of the Premier League.
Yeah, there you go, man. I mean, they're sitting pretty, and I guess they're not top of the league anymore. But then we're gonna have him back on next week. I don't know where he is. He keeps writing. I don't know if he's allowed to have.
The production team don't want him up. That's why.
The thing is, no. The thing is, I don't know if he's allowed to have his cell phone in jail if he's running from the police. I mean, somebody please find Celestia out there. We don't need, we need him next week, and we need him to keep things, stable. That in Miami, when we go overseas. So somebody please find Socio, make sure he's okay. But we'll definitely give some predictions next week on the games. Um, we'll talk a little bit again about Inter Miami. We'll see what happens with Phil Neville, in the Phil Neville extravaganza this weekend. We'll see if they can get a win, and we'll see if he gets heated. If they don't, we'll see if he gets heated in the post game conference. Maybe we'll get some
Let,
video there.
let's see if he does a press conference if they lose. They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
he
yeah.
wasn't feeling well. I'm sorry. We apologize. We have Stefanelli again for you
No,
guys.
no, that's one thing that I have to say that I respect about Phil. Win or lose, he always has shown his face.
Always,
Always.
always.
He might not have a comment to say about the game, which is fine. You could be upset, but he's always shown his face, and he's always answered everybody's question, and he's always stayed till the end. So that's something that I do respect about Phil. Soccer wise or not, we don't have to agree on soccer stuff. He has his principles. I have mine. But that's one thing that I do respect about Phil. He has always shown his face, and that's something that not a lot of or that you see in Europe. A lot of coaches sometimes don't want to face the media, and sometimes in the sports here today in basketball and other things. Sometimes the coaches or the players don't want to face the media. So my hats off to Phil for always dando la cara. That's
Lo
something
único que le
important.
queda al amigo. ¿No?
Y bueno, si es la única que le queda, por lo menos la hace bien. Bueno,
Hashtag Solana in.
yeah, bro. Hashtag Solana in. I love that hashtag. If we can get that trending, man, I see. I'll buy anybody whatever shirt you want, bro. It doesn't matter. If you can get Solana in trending, I see. No importa. But on that note, guys, I just want to remind everybody, like Nico said, once we get to 250 subscribers, we are no longer giving out an Inter Miami shirt because nobody wants one. Clearly, we are giving out a signed Javier Pupi Zanetti official Inter Milan jersey that we will get signed in a couple weeks over in Free Socio.
Espera, ¿qué están haciendo ahí?
Free Socio, dice. Free Socio. Sí, de la policía, pobre socio, boludo. Alguien ahí que lo encuentren. So when we get there, when we get to 250, we'll raffle it out to, one of our subscribers. But
we can make a video with Poopies saying subscribe so you can win the shirt, something like
absolutely,
that.
we will.
Ahí.
Oh, hopefully we get to 250 before. So, but once again, I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Those of you that are going to listen on Spotify, thank you for Evid, for Nico. This is Danny. We'll be back next week with end of the year awards, a little bit of Inter talk, and a little bit of Turkey preview. For This Is Football, Danny, we're out, baby.
Like, subscribe, share, todo.